Hey, what's up, guys? Ronin here. I'm in Pattaya, Thailand. I'm going to get ready for tomorrow, heading to Cambodia for the summit, flying in early morning. And I wanted to answer a few questions. So let's go through. I'm looking at recent comments, right? Someone else beat me to it. This is White Ram 313. But I'll ask you anyway. A little bit strange because I already answered this one. But I think if it's coming up again, it's all good. Let's answer it again. Why do you think so many of these young pro athletes are getting married now? Do they not realize the options they have? Well, nobody knows what the other people realize, so it's impossible to say there. Why do young guys get married? Variety of reasons. One, very typical, and the thing is, you know these things. Why does a guy get married? What's the reason? The main reason is he doesn't want to lose the girl. So he can't stand the thought of another guy putting his penis in her mouth or her vagina. That's the main reason. It's just like, no, I got to keep this one. She's my girl. You know what I mean? That is very caveman, but it's true. That's one of the main reasons. What's another reason? Another good reason why young men, and I'm not talking about just rich guys, I'm saying any men. Okay, why would a young man get married? Social pressure. Mom and dad, hey, now you got the money, you know what I mean? Buy us a house, and why don't you take care of your girl? So it's a feeling that he's being a good boy. He's doing the right thing, you know. A guy who's a pro athlete, okay, has done everything right. There's a boatload of guys who are very, very talented who never made it to the pros. There's a lot of stories about Rucker Park and guys that were better than Jordan, but they were into drugs. They never made it. A pro athlete, I mean, they're going to try to trick you and say they're like some kind of badass, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is they're good boys, right? They did everything their coach said. They did everything their parents said. And they naturally had talent, right? So they became a pro athlete. I have a ton of friends that could have been pro athletes, but they just didn't have the discipline. They weren't able to stay away from the booze. They couldn't go to sleep at night. You know, guys have become pro athletes. I mean, it's like a business, right? Most of the good ones, they fucking go to sleep early, you know, and that's what's going on there. So we're talking about good boys here. So if you think like they're like rappers or something, no. Pro athletes, completely different thing. It's very competitive these days. No matter even if you're talented, it's super competitive. So these guys are definitely focused on the basics. Dribbling, passing, you know what I mean? Screens, plays. You know, they studied the playbook, you know, over the weekend. They did everything they could to be a pro athlete, right? Not just an exceptional athlete, but a pro athlete, professional. Professional means business, right? So these guys are good boys, okay? And so naturally, in the realm of relationship, they want to be good boys. They want to please their mothers, right? Don't let the muscles or tattoos fool you. You know, now, after years of being a pro athlete, definitely these guys start to realize what the fuck's going on. And they start to, break away from this stuff. But especially young pro athletes. They're thrown into a situation where girls are throwing themselves at them. They're still at the age where their family, you know, most pro athletes these days are close to 20, right? 21, 22. You know, think about when you were 22, man. You know, it's completely different. If you had the money, you probably would have gotten married too. And all of a sudden, the fucking girls are telling you, I'm going to do everything for you. I'm going to cook for you. I'm going to clean. You know, so the guys, they haven't had time. They're not 40 years old. They didn't have time to think about it. So, you know, they got married for very basic reasons. You give a guy a bunch of money when he's young, he still doesn't understand a lot about the world. He's going to make some bad decisions. He's going to buy expensive cars. Like, why do guys buy, I mean, you could ask the same thing. Like, why do guys buy expensive cars that are not of good value, right? It's the same thing. You know the reason, right? Same thing with women, right? He's like, they can, right? So they're like, okay, it doesn't mean it's smart, but they can. All of a sudden, they're like, yeah, I want a fucking, gold-plated Rolls Royce. And there's a ton of stories about guys who went bankrupt and now living on the streets that used to be pro athletes. Being successful in sports, I mean, I feel like this is so elementary, but I just got to answer it again. Does not mean you understand women, okay? Sports, there's rules, there's lines, it's completely different than women. Women are complicated. Women require a different kind of intelligence, understanding women. And it requires really questioning of things. And, we have to break through the matrix, right? We're brainwashed and we have to break out, see the world. That's very different than somebody who gets straight A's and gets, he's going to UCI, he's getting, straight A's, and he gets a job in computer science, And same thing with pro athletes, right? Just different subject, right? So these guys, they make a lot of bad decisions when they're young. And especially when you give them a bunch of money when they're young, they are going to make even poorer decisions. I don't understand why this question keeps getting asked. I mean, young guys make stupid fucking decisions. I mean, it doesn't necessarily ruin them. If they make enough money like PJ Washington, they can overcome it. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, if you think these guys are just geniuses or something, it goes back to my idea, one of the saddest things I see in the West, and I'm totally serious about this, because it really shows you where people are at, is that there's a thing called the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And, you probably know, but if you don't, it's kids that are dying, right? They have leukemia, cancer, and then they're asking for their one wish. And their wish is often to meet a musician or a sports person, and for them to come to their room in person. I just think that is so incredibly telling on where society's at. I can't get over it. I mean, meeting another man is their biggest thing. I mean, they don't know. And they probably don't really know much about him. You know a lot more about me from these videos than you would know about a guy playing quarterback, because they don't talk that much. They're going to tell you what their plan is, how they won this game, what they were thinking during this play. But as far as deep philosophical stuff, you really don't know shit about these guys. And yet, young men in the West worship them so much that it's the most important thing before they die. They want to see another human being. I just think that's incredible. And it shows how meaningless life has become, I personally, I don't know if you guys do, but I'm not. To me, it's just devastating. If I was dying, I would definitely want to spend more time with my friends. I'm just guessing. I'm not dying, so I can't say for sure what I would choose. I would want to eat the foods I love. I would want to maybe go and do something that I always thought I should do and didn't do. You know what I mean? Like I might have some to-do list there. In order to leave this planet with a feeling that I did the best I could, right? That would be something that's exactly something I'd want to do. It's like, I got to make apology. I got to make amends to this guy. I got to go and do this thing. I got to help out this person. I got to meet a guy who got drafted by a team and throws a football, or a guy who sings. I just don't. I guess if I was a professional singer, I know, but even then, it doesn't make any sense. These guys are meaningless to you. I mean, that was the whole thing. I mean, look at the last election. All these Rihanna and all these people were singing up there for Kamala, and it was kind of like the world kind of realized that what we thought of as celebrity just doesn't mean shit. They don't care about you. They don't think about you. They don't know you. You don't know them. They're just another person, probably pretty Machiavellian, right? Machiavellian. To get to the top of anything, it's not easy. And they play roles in movies, but that doesn't mean they're like that. You know? It's like that's what these kids believe. They believe, when they want to see an actor, right, before they die, they actually believe that actor has these great qualities that he played in a movie. It's so incredibly sad to me that we accept that. I would never encourage my daughter to believe this lie. It is madness. It is fucking madness. So the question itself is kind of like that. It's like these great guys with so many choices, and you're assuming these guys are smart. You're assuming these guys make wise decisions. You're assuming they understand dynamics of men and women. Like, I would say to not assume that these guys are some kind of royalty and super smart. And the real answer to the question is, why do you think these guys are so smart? Like what hint have you had that these guys are greater than you? Like, there is no hint. They might be, but there's definitely no hint about that. These are just normal guys. They're normal fucking guys. If you would have been better at baseball, you'd be one of them. Right? You'd be the guy all of a sudden that all the kids look up to. And the guys are like, what are you looking up to me for? Like, I don't have anything to offer. That's what these guys are saying in their heart of hearts. They're just playing sports. There's nothing, there is nothing there. Like, who cares what they would do? Like, why would you put them on this pedestal to even ask this question? And there's so many guys. And insert yourself in the back of your mind. You're thinking these guys are really got their shit together. I mean, once you start meeting famous people, and you'll realize that there are great people out there, definitely. I would say this. I have a lot of famous friends. I would say this. You're more likely to be smart if you're famous. It doesn't mean you are smart, and again, I don't think this means anything, but you're just a little bit more likely, because otherwise you couldn't play the game well enough, right? But again, being smart, is that some kind of, is that the be all end all? Like, if your grandma was super nice to you, or your grandpa, and he wasn't that smart, like, would that matter to you? No. Being smart is not the final, calculation of who is great, who's not, right? So, but I would say they're more likely to be smart because they figured shit out. They somehow reached the top. Not easy, man. Not easy. All right, so I want to put that to bed. Like, they're just normal guys who don't know red pill shit, who got money young, and they're making bad decisions. Period. Right? And they're going to regret those decisions, and they're going to pay. The word young there is the key thing. Let's go through these other questions here. Jay Grundon, I love this one here. Jay Grundon 6044. Him and his guys, they listen to Ronin Man while they're working in the warehouse, and I just think that's fucking hilarious. That is great. Here's a funny story, Jay. So one of the guys, I'll just say Rick in Boston, right? His friend came to visit him, right, at his house, and he's a bachelor. He's got 2 kids that are grown, and they came into his house, and he was upstairs, right? He had the door open. He always, so he's a casual guy. So they came in, and then Ronin Man was playing, and then like an episode, and then. His friend said, "You listen to Ronin Man?" He goes, and Rick goes, "I know Ronin Man." And then they just started cracking up, like they're both friends that were listening to the channel, they didn't know. I just think that's fucking great. Because it's funny how, like, people that think similar, like, gather. I have a lot of funny coincidences like that too, right? There's no coincidence why those guys are friends, right? Okay, I'm looking at questions here. I'll just make comments too. I love this channel. It saved my life. It was Hillcrest Daily 10 days ago. Dude, I don't take that lightly, man. The reason why I haven't replied yet is because it's so heavy. Because things have saved my life before, and I know what you're talking about. And I'm honored to be that guy. And keep saving your life, man. Life is hard, man. There are moments. You just got to make it through those moments. All of life is not hard. Life is generally fucking awesome. But there are moments when it's really hard. You got to get through those times. You just got to get through those times. Just remember, they're not going to... like one of the wisest things I ever heard was I was feeling terrible. And a guy said to me, he said, do you think that you're at the beginning of the pain or the middle of the pain or the end of the pain for this one thing? And I was like blown away by what he said, because my mind felt like, God, the pain's going to go on forever, right? But I thought about it. I thought, you know what? Like, I was done already. Because I thought, well, I think I'm at the end of the middle. And he goes, oh, good. And I was like, wow. Because when you're in pain, you kind of feel like, part of you feels like it's never going to end, right? But it's like you go through stuff and then you're better, right? When I lost my daughter, that was the hardest thing I ever went through. And I felt like the stage I was in, you never get over losing a kid. I mean, when someone kidnaps your kid and you can't meet her, it's just, you never fully get over it. I'm not saying that. Like, it's the most inhumane, terrible thing, and leads to terrible outcomes. I think that's partly why people do things like that, is they want you to have a terrible outcome. There are evil people in the world. There really are. There is no question about it. Evil does exist. There are people that are so angry that they want to see others fail, right? And it's sad, but it's good to know. It's good to fucking know. But I was in that stage, and it lasted about, I think the real pain probably lasted, like the real deep where I was losing my mind, maybe 2-3 years, where it was touch and go. And through the help of one friend, I finally I made it through it. And with any of these big things especially, but even with small things, they seem like they're going to last forever. They do. It's crazy. But it's like beginning, middle, beginning, end. And this guy here, Hillcrest Daily, it's the end of that pain. Let's see here. For that one pain, right? Let's see, there's a comment here. There's a comment on the video called Don't Let Women Run You Around. Yeah, no, she traveled from across the country. She was communication. Then you can adjust your schedule if you can. Some of these comments, the videos are like an hour long, and I'm not quite sure, like, if you really want a good answer from me, you got to leave a timestamp, so I know exactly which sentence you're applying to. Because often, these comments are often based on one sentence in a video, and that's what this one is. So leave a timestamp. Make it easy for me to understand the exact thing that I said that made you say that, right? Let's see. It's not easy. It's not easy to see. Because to me, it's like one long story, right? What is the thing that caused you to say that? Ivan Anderson, 141, 10 days ago, said just two guys on YouTube talking horse shit. And that was on the Don't Let Women Run You Around thing. I would guess that this is not a regular listener. I think it is easy in life to miss things that can teach us stuff. It is so easy, man. It is so easy to misjudge somebody. Where somebody's telling you something, and like years later you realize, oh man, that guy was trying to help me. He was trying to warn me, right? And I just fucking attacked the guy, or said this or that, or ignored the guy, or whatever it was. But women running you around and controlling your life, that is a well, you guys know this, right? This can lead to very bad consequences. It is very important to have your autonomy. And I'll just leave it at that. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, here's money happiness for 868. Ask yourself this: if I were Justin Timberlake, would they show up 15 minutes later? Okay, so this is where Paul disagrees. Me and Paul. So Paul believes we should go out and approach the ones we want. I say no to that. I only date chicks who have genuine desire towards you. I'd rather date a 5 who's in awe of me than a 10 who wants me to prove myself to them. Okay, this is a fundamental misunderstanding of approaching women. Approaching women, just like doing sales calls, okay, it is a very good experience for you as a man because it's scary. It is fucking scary. That's why guys don't do it. You're probably scared of doing it. It is terrifying, actually. Most guys' approach anxiety is so real that they can't do it. I just read that over 50% of guys 18 to 24 have never approached a woman in their lives. And a lot of the red pill channels are saying, it's not worth it. That's the reason. No, that's not why you do it. You overcome your fears for you, right? You go up and talk to people. Okay, now, this is actually a good question. So this is where he thinks he disagrees because he's waiting for girls to talk to him first, right? Now, I would first question is, are you afraid? Are you afraid of approaching women? Because that is a very important question because most guys are afraid. I know for myself, I always have to get over the fear of doing it. Even though I've done it a gazillion times, there's always that feeling of, she might embarrass me. I might say something stupid. There's always that thought in the back of my mind. That's why a lot of guys get drunk to do it, right? Now, maybe money happiness is above that and doesn't have no fear, right? But I would guess you probably do. And it's easy to let your fear of doing something, or it could be that you're not good at it. So you go do it, doesn't work. You did it before, it didn't really work, right? And so it's easy to come up with a reason. There's a million reasons to come up with to not do something like that. And same with sales calls, cold calls, right? When I was in Santa Cruz last, my friend has a company, and he wanted me to go do sales for him. So door to door. So I knocked on doors, door to door, 6 hours a week for him. And I went knocking on fucking doors. Like when you knock on somebody's door, sometimes you're in the yard, dog attacks you. I mean, there's good reasons to be afraid. There's people who look like they might be using drugs, and you get this fear that they could misunderstand who you are. Sometimes people come out and say no solicitors, yell at you, make you feel bad. Sometimes people are very mean, right? And there's a lot of reactions you get when you do door-to-door sales. But I did it because I was like, is one, he wanted me to do it, but also two, I was like, you know, I haven't done this kind of thing for a long time. This is good for me. It's good to get rejected. It's a very good experience. Because what does it do? It makes you tougher as a man. And also, you know, you find that you're able to do it, right? I was able to get, you know, people who wanted different jobs done, right? And I was good at it and brought my confidence up again. Because you lose it if you don't do it for a while. So you approach women, you do sales. The reason why is not so that you can find, okay, you do it for yourself. A lot of things you do for yourself, even though it looks like you're doing it to get girls. You're afraid of doing it, go do it, right? You're terrified, you're not good at it, go do it. Practice, get better, right? I've been to a lot of pickup things. I helped Julian on his tour. We did, weekends and stuff, and I helped guys in bars go approach women and talk to women. I give them advice, you know, just helping out Julian. I helped out Max. I helped out, let's see, who was the other guy? The guy, he's really cool, a Spanish guy. Anyway, I was terrible on his thing. I was not in the mood. But I went out and did it. I helped guys do pickup, and I can tell you this, these guys are fucking terrified. I mean, these are guys who paid for a pickup weekend. And it's just so scary. And I say, oh, just go do it. Say this. I give them something to say, and they go do it. And afterwards, they're just like, yeah, wow, that was such a cool night, you know. Usually I don't meet anybody. I met a bunch of people tonight. You know, and they're very happy with themselves. Stretching yourself, pushing yourself. This is fucking good for you. Don't let your excuses stop you from trying things. Same with sales. Door to door. Cold calling. Fucking do it. No matter how old you are. Always be ready to push yourself. This will make you stronger as a man and better as a man. And now, there's a lack of logic in this question. Okay, so next thing. So now I used to do this when I was younger, so I understand where he's coming from. He wants girls who are totally, totally in love with him. So let me hit on that point. Basically taking whatever life offers you is what that is. So you live in a small town and your parents are poor, bad family, you just take whatever life gives you. You get a job at the local 7-Eleven, you work up to manager, you know, you get fired because they close the store, and you take what life gives you. That's what you're doing when you take girls who like you. You're just yourself. You're not charting your own course. You're not deciding where you want to go. Even if you're not successful. As a man, it's very good to do it anyway. And try. You know what I mean? You fucking try. I had a friend, he wrote a master's thesis in chemistry. And he was one of the smartest guys I ever met. He was so smart, this guy. And when I went, after he left China, because we were studying Chinese together, and he had presented his master's thesis, and I said, how'd it go? He goes, well, you know, I got my master's. And I said, really? So your theory was correct? Because he had a totally new theory. He goes, no. He goes, the teacher totally proved my theory wrong, but I got an A because my thinking and the way that I researched. And that's what it's about. That's what real research is about. You don't always find the cure for cancer, right? You don't always find the cure for AIDS. It's not that easy. But there's a certain way of attacking the problem that tells the teacher that you know what I mean? You got what science, you get it. You're doing it the right way, and eventually you're going to have some success, right? Because you're honest and you're implementing the basics of what is the scientific inquiry, right? It's not about being right. Okay, if you get a lot of people that don't know much about science, they think, well, it's only about the guy who got the final thing. But often that guy got his answer based on, 10 other people that almost got it, right? So it's like it's standing on the shoulders of giants, right? There are many, many great scientific minds who came up with understandings that somebody else stood on to reach the final goal. And those guys were happy. A lot of those guys were happy because they're real scientists. They contributed to the final discovery. And they're stoked. Like a real scientific guy doesn't even care about money. He like lives for the process. He lives for the truth. And he's so glad somebody finally put the final piece together. That's a scientist. That's a real scientist. It's pathetic what we got with these days with fucking DEI and all this crap where people are just making up theories and fudging numbers. Like, it's so sad. It's such an abomination to what science actually, how men brought us from being cavemen in caves to where we are today. Living in tall buildings with piped in water and internet. And it's amazing. Microwaves and cars and artificial intelligence and computers. That was all from science, scientific inquiry, right? The implementing of all those things, right? Of all those concepts, right? So you choose. Okay, let me go back to this thought. So basically, you do pick up, right? So let's say there's like some like this, choosing what life gives you. So there's an ugly girl in your class, because this is realistic, okay? A girl that throws herself at you is going to be ugly, for sure, because she can't get better. You're the best she can get. She's always going to be ugly. I mean, trust me, this is the way it is. I'm a good-looking guy, and I'll tell you, most girls that throw themselves at me are not pretty, okay? Because it's like they just can't get a guy, and they dream of a guy who's handsome and blah, blah, blah. But it's like at the end of the day, the better-looking girls, they can get guys. You got to go talk to them, right? So why do I no longer agree with this? Because I realized I was compromising. I was just taking the easy, low-hanging fruit. It's not good for me, and the quality of girls is not that high. If I go, okay, here's the fundamental misunderstanding of this question. Money Happiness did not get this. If I go and talk to more girls, now, they don't know who I am. They can't like me or not like me. Okay, do you understand that? So if you never met somebody, you don't know them. Does that make sense? So there's a guy in Africa walking around. You don't know anything about him, right? Because you never met him. Now, what happens if you meet him? Then you will like him or not like him. You can have an opinion. So when you go and talk to people, what you're doing is, and this is one of the key things in pickup, is you are showing yourself to them. You're showing your balls. You're showing your humor. You're showing your laughter, your expressions, your ability to talk. You're displaying things about yourself. You're not forcing this girl to go with you because you talk to her. That's not how it works. I can tell you haven't done pickup. Because when you do pick up, you realize you're meeting, and also you're finding what you like. So if I eat, okay, let's go back, taking what life gives you. My parents grew up in northern Minnesota, right near the border of Canada. And they were born in the 1940s, and there was no fruit in the wintertime. If they were lucky, there was like apple. There was like an old apple. They didn't have any mangoes, they didn't have any mangosteens, they didn't have any pineapples. They just had, if they were lucky, they had like an old apple. My mom told me all about like growing up there, and it was like, they didn't even have electricity because it was so far in the wilderness. And I've been there a million times, and they didn't have a phone. Even though the phone was invented, they didn't have electricity. They had candles. They had an outhouse. And that's how she grew up. And there was no fruits in the winter. In the summer, there would be some fruits. But in the winter, there was no fruits. Now, if you lived there, you would probably love apples. Because apples are sweet. They taste good. But what's the difference? You never tasted, you never came to Thailand. You never had a durian. You never had a jackfruit. You never had a mangosteen. You never had a passion fruit, right? You never had so many things you never had. When you go up and meet people, okay, you will discover there's different kinds of people. You're going to meet, and just sheer numbers. The more people you meet, the more likely that you're going to meet somebody you like and that likes you. Just the numbers game, right? So if you go to one town, like your parents, let's say they have a cabin somewhere, and you take every vacation your whole life to that one cabin, you just won't know how much you like it because you just have never compared it to anything. The reason why you go out there, do cold calls, do door to door, talk to people, talk to girls, is because you're going to learn stuff you didn't know. You're going to be tested, you're going to overcome your fears, and you're going to find out that there's different kinds of people. So a lot of people on this channel even have never really met that many girls. They don't really have much experience. So it's easy to fool them. So there's a lot of channels out there who tell you the way women are, and then you listen to it and you're like, oh, that's the way it is. This guy knows. But you always got to look, how many people does this guy know? Like, what is this guy's experience? If this guy doesn't have much experience, then what the fuck does he know? You got to go in there and find out. What you find out is that there's all different kinds of people, right? You know, when I was young, and this is true for everybody. When I was young and I came to Asia, I was 23, and my favorite kind of girl, I had a favorite, it was a girl, and I remember exactly. She would be wearing like jeans, Levi jeans, kind of a little bit worn, kind of tight around the ass. She would have a ponytail and a hoodie, like a school hoodie. Okay, either from some kind of group she was in, or sorority, or school, or sports team. Kind of a cute one, maybe like a cute color, and pretty form-fitting. And she had tennis shoes on, right? And a ponytail. That was what I liked. That was my type. Pretty athletic. She wasn't too weak and willowy, and she wasn't fancy. She didn't have painted nails. She didn't have makeup on. And that was what I liked. And that's what I thought all I could like. Now, I went to Japan. I started sleeping with a lot of girls. I slept, what am I saying? Sometimes I misspeak. I slept with so many girls in Sweden. I slept with girls in France. I slept with a ton of girls ever since I was young in America, but not the numbers that happened when I reached my peak, which I happened to be in Japan. And I didn't just sleep with Japanese girls. It was any kind of girl in Japan. I was sleeping with whoever was there. I was approaching and just boning chicks, right? I was down Chinese, Korean, American, British, French, and I was trying German. I was hitting on girls, right? And I was boning them. Now, the biggest surprise to me, and this was a big shock because Money Happiness 4868, you probably think you know what you like, right? But you probably really don't, because it's based on all the possibilities out there. If you don't know a lot of the possibilities, how do you really know what you like? Like, you might think, like somebody in a small town, like, I like apples. Now, you do like apples, and there's truth to that. But what if there was a ton of other fruit there? Would you be eating fucking apples all the time? Like, would you be passing up the passion fruit, to eat apples? Would you be passing up the Thai bananas, right, to eat apples? The Thai bananas are these little bananas that are so sweet and tasty. There's 3 different types. But, would you? No, you don't know, because you haven't had them, right? You find out, okay, so here's what happened to me. And this is important. You got to hear the truth here. 1, probably afraid to pick up. 2, probably not that good at it. 3, probably haven't done it that much. 4, probably haven't had that many women, right? 5, you're compromising. So you're like, oh, she makes me come, I'm fine with that. Now, if you started posting pictures of the girls you're with, there's no pictures here. There's no posted pictures. But it's very likely that, that you're lying to yourself and you're compromising, for one thing. But it's also possible you don't know. So let me talk about a don't know story. So in Japan, like I was saying, there was a girl, and I can't remember her name now, but she was a hostess. This is back in the bubble, and she was a top hostess in Ginza. Very, very sexy. And she was very put together. She only wore high heels. Fucking high heels all the time. I never saw her not in high heels. And her pussy was always perfectly manicured. She always had hot underwear. Always. This girl always had hot underwear. She always had a shaved pussy or perfectly manicured. She always had makeup on. Her hair was always done when I saw her, right? Except for when we were done fucking. But she was always like, she was the exact opposite of the girl I liked, that I thought I liked. I thought I liked fucking the girl with the college fucking sweatshirt, and the fucking jeans, right? Now this girl, I remember one time, I had a cold, and I had fucked another girl in the morning, and then she came over. I think I'd fucked the girl in the morning like 2 or 3 times. So I was really tired, and I was sick. So she came over, and I could hardly get it up, and like she was down there, and I was thinking like, fuck, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. Like I was sick, I was sneezing, my nose was full of snot. I had a fever. I felt like shit, you know. And this girl was down there, and she was down there working away, trying to get it up. And I remember like thinking like, every girl has a moment where she gets tired during sex, right? Or tired of like whatever. And so, or they give up, or they take a breath, or they say something disparaging, or whatever. There's something that's very, like they don't just keep like a good girl, just keep trying. And so that time came. It was like a certain amount of time. And I expected her to say, you know, maybe we should wait till later, or get some food and try again. And I was just like, fuck, you know. I was like, she didn't. She kept going. She kept going. I looked down at her. Here's this girl, perfectly dressed, like the exact kind of girl I don't think I liked. Like a hottie. Fucking smoking hottie. Absolute fucking perfectly made up fire engine, this girl. And she is down there just grinding away on my dick. And I suddenly realized she was never going to give up. She was going to keep going till the job was done. And I couldn't believe it. I had never seen this before. Because girls always give you some hint. They're tired, or their mouth is sore, or something, right? And she just kept going. She was like a soldier. And I realized that girls like that are super, super, you know, wear high heels all the time and walk endless distances with high heels on. They're the kind of girls who never fucking stop trying. Whereas the girl in the comfortable shoes with the cow, she might just say, oh, you know, and just say, well, let's later or something, you know. But not this girl. Fucking this girl. She was fucking soldier, man. And when I realized that, I all of a sudden, my whole view of her changed. I was like, wow, this girl's a trooper. And my dick just got so hard. And I fucked her, and it was one of the best fucks, too. Because I realized I like different kinds of girls. Like, there was different kinds of girls. I never even knew that. I thought I knew it all. I fucked already hundreds of girls. But I never had a girl who just never gave up. This chick, she was such a pro. She would never even give you a sign that she was tired. She would get it up, drain your balls, and be done. And I was like, wow, the ball drainage ability here is amazing. And I realized, like, there's something to that. Fucking girls that know how to drain your sack at all times, every single time, and never give up, you can trust them in bed. So you relax a little more. See, the other girl, the part of the reason why I was not getting it up for a while is because I was thinking she was going to give up, because it was like 30 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes longer than usual. But as soon as I realized this girl is a trooper, right? She's gonna work me until and then I was just like, fuck, this girl's awesome, right? Had a fucking raging one and just boned her, and it was great. So you might think those girls that throw themselves at you, or easy, or next door, are what well, I think I answered the question. But I tell you, man, that was a beautiful thing for me to discover that. I cannot tell you how deep that was. You know, when you think you know yourself and you don't, it's very fucking, because then all of a sudden I was totally like, because I see in my mind, and I don't know about your mind, money, happiness, but I'll tell you this, most guys, they avoid girls because they think the girl's not going to like them. And they're going to turn them down. And they're going to feel bad. And they're going to be embarrassed. But what I realized at that moment is I don't really know. Like all of a sudden I thought I was interested in all kinds of girls now. Tall, short, muscular, skinny, like super, super thin, super small, super big. Like all of a sudden I realized I don't know what I like. I don't know how girls are going to act. I don't know what I think is normal that is not normal. Like I learned, fuck, these girls are cool, man. And to this day, when I see a super hot girl, I don't think that she's a bitch. But a lot of guys do, because they don't know. They don't know these girls can be fucking kittens, dude. They can be like the sweetest girls, and troopers too. Now, I don't know why she was like that. I don't know what her background was. She was working in Ginza as a hostess, which was a very high-paying job during the bubble. I don't know what her background was. I'm guessing it was pretty rough. But I appreciate those girls that don't give up, man. Anyway, every time I see a girl doing that, I tell you, I really appreciate it, The girls that give up easy or just kind of like complain, it's like, fuck them, I really appreciate girls who are in it, you know what I mean? Because I'm like that. Like, I don't care what happens when I'm fucking a chick. I'm going to finish. Like, she starts bleeding. She has menopause. Or not menopause. She has her period and blood just starts. I remember one time I was boning a chick against the wall. And, all of a sudden, I felt this warm feeling on my balls. I looked down. Blood all over the floor. Blood dripping down my balls. And she had just had her period, just as we had started. Or she had been holding it inside and not told me. And then I just looked down. And it was staining my floor and everything. Tatami mats, and I just kept going. I fucking came, and then she looked at me. She was stoked. She goes, wow. She goes, you're a guy who finishes what he starts. And she was all stoked on me after that. And I think I feel the same way about girls, It's like I'm not easily, she learned a lot about me. I'm not squeamish. Oh my God, it smells. Oh my God, blood. I'm like, no, I'm going to fucking finish. I'm blowing my wad on you. That's the way it is, And I think that kind of same attitude girls can have or not have. So I would say, question yourself on that one. Are you not approaching girls because somehow if you approach girls, they don't like you? No, they don't even fucking know you, man. How the fuck could they know you? Just ask yourself this. Do you know a girl you never met? Just ask yourself that. Do you know a girl you've never seen and never met? Yes or no? If you don't know, if you like them, it's because you've never seen or met them. When you present yourself to people, you will find out who likes you. So in other words, you could go do pickup and still keep your philosophy of going with girls that really feel strong feelings about you. Right? Nothing's stopping you. In fact, you'll have more choices and you're going to find better quality. You get more, you're going to find a better quality. Almost the numbers game, right? Numbers game. One guy walks in the casino, very unlikely he's going to walk to the high roller table and drop $4 or $5 million. He might, but if tens of thousands of people come in every day, every hour, over a weekend, almost guaranteed someone's going to walk to the high roller table because it's a numbers game. More people, more options. Give yourself those options. You can still choose girls that like you. And I understand that point. You don't go for the girls who don't like you. You're trying to impress, and you're trying to get over this kind of what do you call it? You're dealing with a narcissist, right? And you're like, no, you're gonna love me. Obviously, you don't want to play that game. But approaching has nothing to do with that. Okay, let's see here. Ronin, man, we're down to the final four. Who you got? Believe it or not, I think the Wolves will turn around and win the NBA Finals 11 days ago. Okay, not fair because it's time's passed since I responded, but Timberwolves did good, definitely. OKC, man, OKC's going to win this one. They got to. They're definitely they got competition, but actually, what am I saying? You know what I mean? Are the Wolves in the finals? They might be. I've been totally out of it. I thought they got knocked out. Wolves finals. I'm going to do my search right now. Can you believe it? I'm this far out of it. Let's see here. News. Yeah, that's what I thought. They got beat by, who the fuck beat them? I forgot. I mean, he beat fucking Warriors, right? The Thunder. Okay, the Thunder knocked him out. These last 2 weeks, man, since I got in Thailand, I've been so busy. I have not been keeping up on NBA like I usually do. Yeah, the Wolves were good. Fuck yeah. They were tough, man. You know, SGA, man. Woo. They were good. They were fucking good. Definitely much better than people would have expected. No question. I'm taking the Thunder in the finals because I just think they're better. They're better than everybody. They're going to win. There's no question about that. Okay. Let's see. You mentioned the sound of young girls playing again. That would be a great soundtrack. True. So true. So beautiful. So beautiful to hear the giggles and sounds. Yeah. When this was posted, this is Mommy Royalty. My video, Sheryl Sandberg's Mommy Royalty leads to billions in losses for Facebook. When this was posted, DI was just getting going, yep. Thanks, Anthony. Anani missed. Let's see. I talked about Diddy. Here's Emanuelo 2480. It would be nice to get your thoughts on the Diddy versus Cassie trial. I talked about it actually. Early in the case. Yeah, I think that I'm going to say what's the basic thing. Essentially, when you talk about the Illuminati, you talk about these secret people that control the world, right? Now, I always say I don't believe in the quote-unquote Illuminati, but I do believe that there's very, very powerful and wealthy people who do control things. Now, we have free will and don't have to give a shit about that. So that's my big beef with that one. But yeah, they control things that I don't care about. But let's get into the Diddy thing real quick. I think that his position is an extremely powerful man, both money-wise, fame-wise. I mean, there really is he was on top of everything. He wasn't just a singer, a producer. I mean, he had a lock on power in Hollywood. And because of that, he he basically started abusing his power. And this is what happens when you get too powerful. You just start getting drunk on your own power, and that's what he did. And, he fucked up. He got too drunk on his own power. It's important to realize that at some point you have to control yourself, even if you can do stuff. And he went down the road of not controlling it and just being drunk on his own power. I think as men, we are born with less power, than women. Women have the power. But if we are in the top 1%, we get powerful. And I think that you need to learn. Sometimes it takes a tough father and grandfather where you can handle being powerful and not abuse it. But that's the temptation, is just to basically take advantage of people, humiliate people, do anything that your power allows you to do. And I just think that Diddy was drunk on his own power, and who knows how far he went. It's going to come out in the trial. Sounds like, from what I'm hearing now, and I've been following it pretty closely. His girlfriend Cassie obviously beat her. He beat her in public. He did a lot of bad shit. It sounds like he hung her upside down by her ankles or whatever outside a building. He just got drunk on his own power, and lost control. And a lot of that was due to drugs. They were on drugs, hardcore drugs. So I think if you become a powerful man, you are a powerful man. It's important to be in your right mind, because what you do will haunt you. You know, I've been in situations where I had power over girls, and sometimes I'm proud of what I did, sometimes I'm not. So I'm not making him to be a demon. But, at some level, I think for one thing, if they wouldn't have had the GHB and all the date rape drugs and all that shit around the house and the inside of the baby oil, I think, here's one aspect I really think is that Diddy was not happy with just boning chicks. He could bone hot chicks endlessly, right? What was he? He wanted to bone chicks, like, for example, that worked for him, who didn't want him. He wanted to bone guys who didn't want it. He wanted to drug people so they had no defense. He couldn't just be happy with getting everything he wants, being free, being in demand, having all these people work for him. He just couldn't ever be satisfied. He let that aspect, and I think a lot of it is due to drugs. He wasn't in his right mind and did some terrible things. And there's even rumors out there that now I don't know if they're true or not, but there's rumors out there, and this often comes when people get drunk on power and money, super drunk on power and money. What's the ultimate thing you can do to somebody? What is the ultimate thing that you could do to show your power? Like the ultimate bully. What's the ultimate bully? Well, there's a guy named Butt Naked who was a warlord in Africa, and he would basically cut your heart out or cut your organs out and eat them in front of you. He fought buck naked. That's why they called him Butt Naked. And that guy wanted to kill you, but that wasn't enough. He had to eat part of your body while you're still alive. That was his, he just couldn't, just winning the battles. That's like in war. It's the same thing in war. As a soldier, you're allowed to do things that normal people can't do, right? Like for example, there's, you're a criminal if you take someone's life, right? But in war, you're not. So what happens to people drunk on power? What do? They start abusing it. They take it to the next level, the next level. And eventually they're they enjoy the pain, right? So you had that sniper in Vietnam, and she would shoot people so that they were still alive. And they'd be screaming and screaming and screaming. And she knew exactly how to do it. She would cause immense pain. And finally, one of the best U.S. snipers finally took her out. But she was drunk on anger and pain and, power. Because what is a sniper? It's power. So I think the key thing with Diddy is, I don't know how far he went, but it's pretty obvious to me he was drunk on his own power. And then they took endless drugs, which really doesn't help. Doesn't help you to rein in your bad side, right? You need to control yourself. I'm not one of these guys who tells you, you go, girl. Everybody on my channel is an awesome guy at every level. No, you're born with possibilities to be bad, to be evil. And part of the beauty of living, the what do you call it? A beautiful life is that you can find that balance where you find what you can do and you're enjoying that, because that gives you power, whether it's making money or getting girls or helping kids or whatever it is, building a business or, building a church, whatever it is that, but then at some point, it could happen to a guy, it could happen to a minister, right? You build a church, everybody likes you, everybody starts to kind of worship you, right? In their little church. And then you get drunk on it. And this is what happens to pastors sometimes. is that the bad side of being a pastor is that people are really opening up to you. You have power. And a lot of guys use that. There's a lot of ministers out there sleeping with the wives of parishioners, and sleeping with the youth group. It can get pretty dark if you don't rein in that side. So that's the hard part. You want the best. Push yourself to get way more than you deserve. You're not accepting life. You're not sitting around with the girl next door. No, you're pushing yourself. But when you get the power, when you build the business, you always remember, you don't need God to do this. You see what you want for yourself. What do you want for your life? What do you want when you die? No one's going to remember you, but what do you want? I want to have a meaningful life. I don't want to take advantage of people. I don't want to be the guy who's taking it to the next level. And the rumor about Diddy, which is probably not true, but it often comes up with wealthy, really, really, really wealthy people. It's the same as butt naked. It's eating people. That's the final, is that you can take somebody's life and then enjoy eating their flesh. That is the ultimate. If you look at power, power starts in very small ways. Winning a Monopoly game, right? Very meaningless small ways. And it goes all the way up, where you have total control of someone's life. And the desire for power, you need to control it at the same time. Most importantly, okay, let's just start from a pure, beautiful young guy, like a lot of guys are, on this channel. Beautiful young guys, go out and get the power. Do everything it takes. Succeed. Climb that mountain. And then when you get it, remember this video. It's a fine line where you have power that you're not using and you're enjoying the fact that you did build something, right? It's that balance. That's why drugs didn't help, because you don't feel that balance. You don't feel the guilt. You don't feel the other people's feelings like you would normally mirror someone. You just let yourself get totally inhumane. And that is a terrible thing. And men can really do this. And it's a fucking scary thing. And it sounds like Diddy just totally went that way. That's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like he went the way of, I'm going to, like he had a trainer. Guy came to a party and he was like a guy, straight guy, had a serious relationship. And he told him, this was in the court case. Now this is all alleged because it's a court case, but to me it was pretty convincing. So the guy, he said, look, why don't you come by? He was training Diddy. Diddy picked the guy because he looked a certain way. But the guy had no idea. He was just like, oh, I got a movie star. I'm training like a guy's working in a fucking gym, right? Next thing you know, he's training Diddy. He doesn't know why Diddy. He doesn't know the darkness in there, the power. He's just like, wow, I got a real, superstar here with money and I can train him. And then Diddy knew what he's doing. He said, hey, come to the party tonight. It was a white party. He said, come here and you can meet a lot of movie stars and get a lot of new customers and you're helping me, so they'll believe you. He's like, hell yeah. So he shows up, comes to the party, and there was a van in front. It was like a catering van. And he said, there was another guy, I think there was like 4 guys approached him and said, look, before you go in, you got to drink this. It's part of the thing at the white parties. And he's like, oh, okay. So he drinks it. Next thing you know, he's all groggy and losing his balance. And then they tried to pull him in the van. He's like still kind of, he's like, whoa, what are we going? What are you doing? And they gave him one more. You got to drink one more. You got to drink one more. Drink one more. Next thing you know, the guy was basically completely paralyzed. He knew what was happening, but he couldn't fight back. And this is, of course, all alleged, but when I heard this story, it sounded so, I believe it personally. That basically what happened was 4 guys raped him in the van, and they just basically let him loose in the party. And he never said anything. Why? Because he knew these guys are fucking dangerous. He was totally ruined as a man. The guy was not gay. He could not have a relationship anymore. Him and his girlfriend broke up. He hates himself because he couldn't fight back, because he didn't fight back. He hates himself for not seeing it. It's just so evil. You know, when you get drunk on power, you can really do things that are just absolutely inhumane. And as you get drunk on this power, you feel like it's the thing to do, right? You're like, yeah, let's take it to the next level, right? We're just gonna like force people because they can't do anything, and let's watch them squirm. Let's, you know what I mean? That's what it's all about, power at this point. And I think, you know, obviously, I personally believe that story is true because I read a bunch of other stories that had details that I have experience with Hollywood. I know a lot about Hollywood, okay? I'm going to do a video about Hollywood at some point. When I was a young man, I was groomed to be one of these guys. I didn't go for it, but I will tell you. And the time is coming because the people that were involved, the last one just passed away, so I can tell the story. I didn't want to tell it till they passed. But anyway, I know a lot about Hollywood, so this right here, 100% I believe. And that's what I think about Diddy. I think he's a normal guy, and like every man, he was just too successful for too long. He believed his own shit. He took too many drugs. He started to do things he didn't really feel good about, but he kept doing it because he was on drugs. And then he started to enjoy it, much like a guy goes to war. First he hates it. Then some people actually enjoy the act of taking people's lives. And then he took it to the next level. No one stopped him. He never got caught. And he enjoyed it. He was the type that enjoys that. And some people, you can't control who you are. I'm not saying you're bad because you enjoy evil things. It's okay to enjoy evil things. But it's a different thing to do them. Okay? You have a choice about what you do. Like whatever gets you hot. Like I don't care if you jerk off to something that's evil. Just don't do it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people like religion or they're telling you, oh, you can't be the way you are. But if you are the way you are, be the way you are. But there's a middle ground. This is a Ronin man middle ground. And it's a very important distinction, is that who you are is who you are. But what you do is your choice. So there's things that I enjoy that I don't do. And I would never do. I'm not making a big confession. I actually am not the type. I'm not like Diddy. I know that. I don't take advantage. I don't want to take advantage of people. But there's still things that I do that I'm, you know what I mean? Like I know I shouldn't, you know what I mean? And I don't. I know how to control myself is what I'm saying. Everybody has something, right, that you would do if you could, but you're like, then you think, well, wait, would I? Once you get the chance, you're like, wait a second. Is this what I fucking want for my life? And also, the other thing too is when you go down the road, Diddy went down, it leads to other dark passages. So when you start going down that road, you start meeting people who are the same as you, but they're worse. It's kind of like when you're in drug addiction and you start out, you know, you just do this, and then you meet somebody who's slamming something or whatever. Then you go down that road. Then he's robbing his grandmother, and then you go down that. There is just your friends or people you're with can lead you to dark places you didn't even know existed, right? You need to control yourself. I quit drugs when I was 21. And there is a very fucking good reason for that. Is I could see dark roads ahead. You need to control yourself. It doesn't matter what you are built with. I was built with a body that was built for addiction. You know what I mean? I was naturally alcohol and drink, but I beat it. See, you can beat it, but you can still be it, right? And you can live a great life. I can live a great life without using. I never went back, and it's like, you know, I still think, you know, had some good times, you know, no question, right? But also too, I was running away from some pain. It's a very complicated thing, but at the same time, I'm not embarrassed about it, but I don't do it because I know it's going to lead to bad shit. See, Diddy didn't know that. Diddy let himself go down that road. He was on a grease slide. There was probably a lot of people encouraging him, but at the end of the day, he's responsible. his life is going to be remembered for things that he probably doesn't want to be remembered for. So I think let's find a good question right here. Let's see. The only rule of man's needs video. Such a powerful and wise information in this video. This is my second lesson. Thank you. Oxford Leons. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. And thank you for saying that. Because it's true. You only need one rule. Keep it simple. Here's another one. Wendy Dung. Wait, did Ronin really predict Cassie 8 years ago? This can't be real. It is real. See, because I know a lot about life. I've been through a lot. I try to share it as much as I can. These things are not the first time. You can see things once you know what I mean? And you're going to start, by learning my life lessons, you're going to be able to see in others. It will give you a wisdom. Okay. Well, should I do one more? I'll do one more. Real Hampson. Being a good friend, how to make friends video. Being a good friend is one thing. Finding people who actually reciprocate is the challenge. I don't know you. I've never met you. But my fear, I'm not saying it's true, when I see this question, is like, are people going to be as good a friend as I am to them? I think the smell I get, the feeling I get, is that there's more to learn about being a friend. That you haven't learned everything you need to really be a good fucking friend. Because if you knew, you wouldn't place blame on them. I'm going to leave it at that. There's more to learn. I don't mean it in any bad way. There's more to learn about being a friend. There's a level you can reach that is higher. And I hope that gives you inspiration. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to go to the bank, try to get my Thai bank card all set up so I can go use it in Touch and Pay in Cambodia, and I'm really looking forward to it. I appreciate all you guys that are coming, and I can't wait to go explore. We're going to go to the Siem Reap and up north after the summit. It's going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be a great trip. And I got to tell you, Japan is coming up, guys. So if you missed Cambodia, couldn't get time off, Japan is going to be a fucking blast. 1st, 2nd, 3rd of August. If you're coming, or if you can come, stay as long as you can afterwards. Because we're going to do a great trip afterwards. So a lot of guys are going to get there about maybe the 31st of July. Go to the summit in Tokyo. Then we're going to go to the beach for like a couple days. Heading down to Osaka to the expo. And we're going to go do a bunch of cool shit. We're going down. We're going to be down in Kyushu. And we're going to see what's considered the most beautiful body of water in the world. We're going to take overnight ferries. We're going to be at festivals. It's going to be absolutely, hopefully we're going to have time to go to the oldest museum in Japan. And this is going to be an out-of-the-box summit. We're really getting out there this time. We're not going to be anywhere near Tokyo after the beginning. And it's going to be fucking awesome. I'm getting there 2 weeks early. I'll probably be up north. And then I will probably be staying like a week or two afterwards. So if somebody got a lot of time off and you got the money, definitely come. Definitely come. I already have the group set up. There's already a bunch of guys in there. We're starting to book rooms. We want to make sure we get the best place and the most action for the best price. Japan is cheap, but you got to do it right. We're going to do it right this year. We did it fucking right every year. We're going to do it even better this time. We're going to book in advance. So if you're serious and you're not just a taker, you're a giver, You know how to be a friend? Come, because there's a lot of chances to be a friend. Speaking of being a friend, there's going to be a lot of good guys on this thing. And part of being a friend is giving. You're going to have to, we're going to all book rooms. One guy book a room one night for a couple nights. Next guy on his credit card is going to book a room for a couple nights. We're going to share the cost every night. Everybody is adding to the group value. There's a lot of guys who've been to a lot of summits who can provide shit ton of value about Japan. And if you're new, it's going to be a whirlwind. You're going to meet girls. Guys have gotten de-virginized on this trip. Guys have gotten girlfriends. Two guys moved to Japan after the summit. They were so in love with Japan. And they learned a lot. You know, there's been just amazing experiences. And I want to thank all you guys on the planning crew, because we've just been having some great calls. And fucking Raph, Sean, Joel, like all you guys, man. It's been so fucking good. You know, talking to you guys. Bank, you know, all you guys that fucking really give. I'm sorry to think of all the names at this moment, but you know what I should do before I go? I should get on the group. Let's see, Pink Bikini 3. Let me get to the members, 19 members. Joel, Cole, Matt, Gabe, Cliff, Dale, Ryan, Dan, Raph, Sean, Bank, Lewis. You guys are fucking gold, man. This is the planning crew, and this is going to be like fucking epic. Epic, dude. Epic for me, too. And why is it epic? I speak Japanese. I know Japan. I wasn't always with such a cool group of guys. Telling you, there's magic that happens. All right. So I'll let you go on that. If you do want to come to Japan Summit, you got to be committed. I want guys that are committed, right? Look at your times, buy a ticket, or be ready to buy a ticket. If you're ready and you're committed, add me on Telegram, Ronin Free. RONINFRE, no dots, no spaces. Do not add me if you're not committed, right? A man's word is his fucking, that's all we got in life. That's what builds trust. All right. So look, thanks, and thanks for the questions. I appreciate it very much, and I'll talk to you soon.